Clinton is taking her nonstop criticism of President Trump overseas. The former Secretary of State delivering remarks in Seoul, South Korea earlier today, and she took shots at the president's response to the North Korean nuclear crisis, stating, quote, cavalier threats to start war were dangerous and short-sighted. Is she crossing the line as a failed presidential candidate, making comments like this overseas? Joining us right now, Fred Fleitz, Senior Vice President for the Center for Security Policy. Fred, I don't know, when it comes to Hillary Clinton, sometimes it's sort of open mouth, insert foot, I suppose. I mean, talking about insensitivity, talking about trying to stir up international controversy in a very politicized way. In your view, is this irresponsible rhetoric from the former Secretary of State?
Tricia, it's great to be here. You know, I did an interview on Sky News. They wanted to know what I thought of Hillary Clinton's criticism of President Trump's Iran policy. My response was, who cares? She opposes everything that the president does. But, you know, this is worse, that she's criticizing the president of the United States on foreign soil at such a sensitive time.
In such a sensitive place, by the way. I mean, she is in South Korea talking about North Korea. And I would say, you know, running the risk of scaring the living daylights out of people there, Fred.
That's right. And, I mean, let's consider all these things we've seen this year, this supposed H-bomb test, 19 launches of missiles. These weapons were all prepared during the Obama years under a policy that she approved called strategic patience. That was to do nothing about the North Korean threat and kick it to the next president. That's her policy. I hope someone in South Korea asked her about
right. that. And let's not forget also her husband's policy, President Clinton, and it started back with Jimmy Carter. I mean, you can't put your head in the sand and pretend to be everybody's friend and think that they're just going to look the other way. There was opportunity after opportunity after opportunity throughout the years for us to nip this in the bud. We never took that opportunity. And, you know, a good analogy might be what we're seeing in Iran right now, Fred, because it's a similar type of thing. You hope and pray for the best, but you are running a risk that you are going to enable them to become a very possibly violent power.
I think that's exactly right. This nuclear deal with Iran is very dangerous. It has a very short duration. I mean, I've been very outspoken in backing Ambassador Bolton's view. We have to kill this deal unless it is substantially revised. That means get rid of uranium enrichment or the production of plutonium. And I think that's what the president's probably going to do.
But do you think Hillary Clinton really hates him that much? I mean, that she'd go over to South Korea and try and scare people and essentially say, basically, we're heading straight for World War III. It seems to me to be an irresponsible thing to do as the former Secretary of State, an irresponsible thing to do as the former Democratic nominee. However, it also seems to be a very political thing to do, which might be rather Clinton-esque.
I don't think she's gotten over the election. I mean, as a statesman, as someone who was a former Secretary of State, I mean, this isn't a close call. This isn't the way you're supposed to act. And, I mean, the South Koreans really are afraid. The Japanese are afraid. They're worried that North Korea is going to set off another nuclear device. Radiation could leak into the atmosphere. A missile could hit a nearby nation. This is not the way.
But this is what she's trying to do, right? I mean, this is what the left has been trying to do repeatedly. With Donald Trump, they're trying to scare everyone into thinking he is a crazy man that's going to head us into a path from which there is no return.
That's right, and they're not focusing on the fact that actually there are signs that Donald Trump's approach is working. China is actually implementing UN security sanctions resolutions. It's gone beyond these resolutions and cutting off banking ties with North Korea. I don't know that that's going to work, but it goes far beyond anything that happened on Hillary Clinton's watch.
Well, I'll tell you, he is going far in that I think those sanctions will work, not just with North Korea, but I'm talking about going after some of the Chinese banks that have propped up North Korea. Because I'll tell you, we are China's biggest economic partner. And China will get the message very fast, Fred. If we start saying, we're going to shut down some of our economic relationships with China, then they will understand how serious we are about North Korea. And they are the ones that have the intelligence and have the capability to actually do something meaningful in North Korea. So China, perhaps, ultimately holds the key.
I think that's exactly right. If there's going to be a peaceful resolution, China has to do its part. And I think both China and North Korea realize that this president is unpredictable. He will take action. They knew the Obama administration was not going to do anything. You know, the Obama administration voted for lots of Security Council sanctions, but they didn't bother to enforce them. That's why trade between China and North Korea soared during the Obama administration.
Amazing, amazing. All right, Fred, good to see you. Thank you very much.
Good to be
Straight
here.
ahead.